you look across kind of the different companies that you work with, Jeff mentioned kind of some of that dedicated fleet. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how that might fit into the strategy that other shippers might look at, and what other actions should shippers take to maximize the availability of the capacity?
Sure. The fleet, the variable fleet we call it, that Jeff's talking about is an excellent way to capture carrier capacity. And in Jeff's case, what we're doing is we have driver, tractor, and trailers that we've hired from multiple carriers that we manage the dispatch of every day. So the carriers aren't managing the dispatch. The difference between that and how the carriers are doing business is they have an option of picking the freight that they're going to take, which might leave you on the sideline, as we talked about earlier. You want to have your freight covered. So that's the advantage that this process brings to Jeff. It's also variable, and their business, Pilot's business, goes up and down like most chemical companies. And when it goes up, we add drivers. When it recedes, we take drivers away. So it's a variable cost model. That compared to a dedicated fleet. So if you've got a dedicated fleet at your plant, there's two ways you're going to do that. You're either a quasi carrier in that you as a company have hired drivers, you have your own trailers, you have your own individuals managing the DOT regulations and the driver logs, and you're also doing the dispatch. The downside to that is it's not variable. Okay, it's not variable. So you have a higher cost in doing that. So, but that is an option. That is an option. Other shippers take a look at that, and they bring in a dedicated carrier. They'll let the carrier just manage all the freight from that plant. All right. The disadvantage of that is that they're going to fill their trucks first. So, and they're not going to pull the trigger to bring another carrier in to support you until the last second, which means that two things are going to happen. Either you're not going to get the freight covered, or you're going to have to move your schedule around to load the trailers. So there's some issues there. There are plus and minuses with all of these, but the virtual fleet that we put together for Pilot seems to work best for them, and I think it also works best for a lot of companies we do business with. Other ways to add capacity, is to maximize the use of a TMS system, transportation management system. So if a shipper has a transportation management system, they can use the enabling features of that system to do things like broadcast for capacity. And in a normal TMS system, you have the cascading effect. So your primary carrier gets selected first. If they aren't available, it goes to number 2, then it goes to number 3, and so on and so forth. With broadcast for capacity, in a tight capacity market, you head off probably after the second carrier, and then broadcast out to all of your carriers to see if they've got capacity to cover that freight on that given day. So that's something that the TMS can be used for. Other things shippers can do is to maximize the payloads that they're shipping. You don't want to be shipping air in a high and a low capacity environment, because if you do, then you're going to need more trucks, less capacity, and it creates a problem that way. So if you can maximize the payloads on your trucks, you can cut down on the number of trucks you need on a daily basis. Examples of that, by the way, are consolidation of LTLs in the truckload, maximizing the payload for bulk shipments by working with your supplier, and not your suppliers, your customers, to ensure that they can take a higher payload. That helps them too, because your reliability goes up, right? Because you can cover the freight. So those are a few things that shippers can do to help them from a capacity standpoint.